Hello, I am Maria Eliza Cornejo, or Eliza. Today, I am presenting a critical analysis of my teaching context in the MyHill Alternative Learning System through the lens of contemporary learning theories. We will explore how teacher-learner interactions and assessment strategies can transform the negative stigma of the OWS program into a model of 21st century safe and open learning environment. MyHill ALS is not a traditional formal school. It is a digital spatial model of learning landscapes. We serve a diverse group of self-directed learners, from out-of-school youth to working adults to home-based young learners, all of which we can describe as alternative learners. Our challenge is to move away from compliance-based schooling toward a system that values the learner's prior experience and learning through making meaning. Based on TANIC's research on the unification of various types of zones for various learning activities, this one, we apparently have designed a digital space that is aligned with the same zonal attributes as TANIC's when we built our Google Workspace e-learning system 8 years ago to accommodate our open house curriculum. These are the zonal attributes, and it's fantastic that we aligned with TANIC's research. A major strength in our system is the role of the desktop teacher. Instead of top-down lecturing, every OWS teacher is a multifaceted learning facilitator. That's what we call them, OWS learning facilitators. A learning facilitator who can assist in deeper learning through an effective curation of learning platforms that can prepare alternative learners for the future economy. So as you can see here, we don't use Google Classroom as formal school would use it. We use them as forum platforms for the various learning platform partners that we have. We also need a learning facilitator that can encourage engagement and collaboration, more like a social media manager, within the e-learning community, helping learners build neural and emotional schemas that can aid in complex understanding. We also need a learning facilitator that carefully strategizes scaffolding approaches without creating dependency and thereby fostering self-directed learning that develops discipline and perseverance within every learner, making them feel safe in a learning space where, I would like to quote Goodwin and Rouleau, sorry about that, they are allowed to take risks, ask questions, and engage deeply with content, in our case, as well as the members of the e-learning community. However, a concern remains. It's the negative stigma. Many learners enroll in the OWS program feeling they are lesser than their counterparts in formal school. This is a stigma that our Department of Education has actually held in belief through the years due to their erroneous and ineffective implementation of the Alternative Learning System program. If our digital interactions focus only on our DepEd's bare minimum compliance, like turning in very minimal number of modules, simple portfolio projects, filling out required ALS forms, or passing the accreditation equivalency exam where passing scores go as low as 60%, then we have failed. We must intentionally design interactions that foster teacher support, which, according to the OECD of 2021, data shows is the strongest predictor of student well-being. Thereby, community support as well promotes a healthy learning environment. We also need to supplement and augment the learning strategies that will continually encourage the MyHill tradition of a learner-built community, showing that social interaction in the MyHill ecosystem actually increases the academic rigor of the program. Our example here is there were a group of students or learners who assisted me when we had to migrate from Meta Workplace back to Google Workspace. So they helped us build the getting started sites and catalogs. Deeper and wider assessment methods in portfolio-based assessment encourage learner agency. By viewing assessment as a learning tool, learners cultivate skills in self-regulation, reflection, and ownership of their educational journey. In ALS or ALS, assessment isn't just a test at the end. It is the learning itself. Our approach is self-paced and self-directed. Learners answer modules and mark the pre-tests and post-tests themselves. Our learners also build portfolio projects that show direct evidence of their learning. And these are digitally organized into a DepEd, this one here, and these others, into a DepEd required form called Individual Learning Agreement, which captures their learning journey. This aligns with Rutherford's idea that student-centered assessment fosters self-regulation, and Goodwin's and Rillo's personalization of learning, which are key 21st century skills. We also apply performance theory, as Hess notes. Valid assessments exhibit real-world skills. When a 30-year-old ALS learner applies a lesson on loyalty to their workplace, this is a high rigor, high validity assessment of our learning strand 4, which is life and career skills. This is an example of one of our adult learners who was actually in Taiwan when she completed her junior high school program with us, and all her projects were based on her work. In all the ALS portfolio projects, the primary guideline for every ALS learner is to produce evidence of learning that exhibits how they applied the content learned in real-life situations and real-world problems. Not all learners are able to achieve the standard of project output that we require, but they are encouraged to think deeper in their creation of learning evidence to showcase their functional literacy, which is the main goal of the ALS program. On the critical areas of improvement that we have encountered is the rigor gap. Standard ALS modules can sometimes lean toward rote memorization. As Hess argues, we need to design complex tasks that mirror real-world problems. We are currently tweaking DepEd's bare minimum functional literacy tests, these two, to create an expanded FLT for the learners, to move from objective testing to performance-based evidence. In the expanded FLT, we will create a process that can monitor and guide learners to align their portfolio projects toward the stronger skills competencies. The foundational core of the ALS program, the way we implement it, anchors on being inclusive, open, flexible, learner responsive, and community-based. I have a note here about learner-centered. We sometimes use this just so we can align with the Republic Act 11510 and the Educational Commission 2, where they keep using learner-centered. But we are moving from there to learner-responsive. Despite the challenges we experience with our local government, most especially on the aspect of funding, since we don't receive any funds from the government, we have continued our advocacy on alternative education through personal donations and volunteerism. Going 8 years now, we continue to build, redesign, and iterate, because every year is a new year of welcoming a new plethora of alternative learners. Rooted in the theories of Dewey and Vygotsky, this approach emphasizes experiential learning, scaffolding, and cultural context, effectively blending secular and spiritual texts to enhance meaning-making. All our research implementations are rooted in social constructivism. By allowing learners to correlate secular texts with spiritual ones, we are operating in their zone of proximal development. We aren't just giving them information, we are helping them construct meaning from their unique cultural contexts. We still have a lot to explore, create, and improve in all 7 areas of the ERP of our e-learning community system. MyHill ALS has been organically growing alongside our community growth. To MyHill, the ALS program is more than just a fallback or a second chance academic solution. It is a living sandbox for 21st century learning. By strengthening our interactions with cultural responsiveness, by raising the rigor of our assessments, and by training towards a paradigmatic mindset shift in teaching and learning, we can ensure that every learner, regardless of age or background, is seen, heard, and valued. Thank you very much. And if you have further questions, you can just message me or within our community. Again, thank you. I'm Maria Eliza Cornejo, and my focus of my research is in alternative learning systems or alternative education in general.